in a rather lengthy passage in Matthew 21 through 22, we see an exchange that took place between Jesus and Jewish leaders in the temple on Tuesday of Holy Week. And so he's in the temple teaching. They come to him and they challenge, hey, by what authority are you saying and doing these things? So they're questioning his authority. And he responds with some parables. And then they give him a series of questions trying to trip him up. Right? They don't come at him saying, teacher, let us learn. Let us discuss these things. They're questioning his authority and they're trying to trick him, purposely looking for some way that they can discredit his claims and his teachings. Not trying to learn truth, not trying to follow God honestly, but rather trying to trip him up, trying to find loopholes and excuses. And if you look at the things, here are the three things that they challenge him on. First, they ask about taxes. Hey, should we pay taxes to Caesar? And then they ask a question that has to do with the afterlife. Hey, in the resurrection, whenever everybody's brought back, wherever we're in heaven, what's this going to be like? And then they ask the question of what's the greatest commandment, trying to get him to pick one over the other so they can make that a wedge issue. And so you see them bringing these challenges to Jesus. And what's interesting is they fall into three broad categories. You have the social issue, right? The societal issue. Should we pay taxes to Caesar? How should we behave in this culture and society? So he's going to try to make a wedge for him in social issues. And then they bring up theological issues. Hey, in the afterlife, what are these things that we should believe about that? And then they try to bring up doctrinal issues, specific little, exactly how should we follow this and do that with the question of the greatest commandment. But in each one of these issues, they're dishonestly trying to trip him up. They're not actually looking for truth. And if we notice, none of the answers that you could possibly give to these questions actually affect the truth of who Jesus is. They're not even looking at the most important questions. And so often, that is what we do as well. That we wrestle with and struggle with and seek answers for all these other issues that are going on in society, or that we struggle with theologically, or that we wonder, should the church do this or should the church do that? And we wrestle over these issues as if they are the most weightiest matters in the world. However, none of the answers to these secondary questions changes the truth of the most important question, the question that they should have been asking. Who is Jesus Christ? That's the question. Because the answer to that is going to affect the answer to everything else. And the answer to who is Jesus Christ is not based in these other questions. It's found in the prophecies that he fulfilled, the teachings that he gave, the miracles that he performed, and the resurrection, raising from the dead as promised on the third day, confirming that he is indeed the Messiah, foretold in the Old Testament, Savior of the world, God with us as a man. And so whatever else we may ask, whatever issues we may wrestle with, the truth of who Jesus is firmly founded on his identity as Messiah, that he is King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and nothing else of these other questions will change that. And so often what they were doing then and what we often do now is that we ask these other questions, and if we don't like the answer, we use that as an excuse to deny the truth of the central issue of who Jesus is. He is King of Kings, Lord of Lords, who came to his people to serve and to save, to die on that cross and rise on the third day, that we might be saved.